Well, some may think it's the dead of summer, but in the recruiting season, it is just heating up. Plenty of commitments to get to here in Arizona. Welcome to the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup. I'm Jordan Ham, bringing in Jason Jewell on Skype. And Jason, we have a ton to get to in the way of commitments. We're going to start things off with arguably the top tackle in the state, Mateo Mele.
Yeah, the big Tucson Sal Point offensive tackle made his verbal commitment to the University of Washington. He's a guy that we've seen over the spring be one of the most heavily recruited players, not just in the state of Arizona, but on the entire West Coast. He has 16 Division I scholarship offers before he committed to the University of Washington. And in talking to Mateo, really the relationship with him and Coach Scott Huff, the offensive line coach, who's an Arizona native, played at Horizon High School. That relationship was huge in him committing. He took an unofficial visit up there to the Northwest, loved it, and committed to shut his recruiting down.
The top 2019 quarterback in the state also commits to Oklahoma. Spencer Rattler, the Sooners are getting a good one.
Wow, yeah, he commits to Oklahoma, and I was surprised that he did it so soon. You know, you see, he's a guy, 17 Division I scholarship offers, which is just crazy because he's only going to be a junior here coming up in August, September when school starts. But he's a guy, he's a freshman. He was a freshman phenom, both in football and in basketball. And the Sooners are getting possibly one of the best quarterbacks to go down in Arizona high school football history.
Chandler had a very busy day last week. They had 3 commitments. We're going to get started with 2 defensive stars that committed to UNLV.
Yeah, so the first one that committed was Bryce Jackson. He's a cornerback, big, long kid that had several other offers, NAU being one, and went up to UNLV on an unofficial visit and took the scholarship offers from the Running Rebels. And then right after, just minutes right after, Chris Manoa, the big defensive tackle, turned around and he pledged to UNLV as well. And he's a guy that had offers from Idaho and NAU and Montana, programs of that nature. He's a kid. He's 6'1", he's 300 plus pounds, super strong, 400-pound bencher, and can just collapse the pocket with that strength.
Braden Flynn is new to Chandler, but Arizona high school football fans know him well. He's one of the better pass rushers in the entire state, and he commits to Navy.
Yeah, so he's a guy last year, you alluded to it, he was at Hamilton High School, and he was one of the state leaders in sacks last year, had 14.5 sacks, over 80 tackles. Before he transferred over to Chandler High School. He's a kid that had other offers from Idaho, and he ends up pledging to Navy. He's a guy that played a lot of defensive end last year at Hamilton High School. But in talking to Braden, he says that the Navy is recruiting him as a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker, a guy that'll be able to get to the quarterback, and with his frame, 6'3", 220 pounds, that's really is his forte. I don't know if he's going to be big enough to be a true defensive end at the next level, but obviously they're getting a fantastic pass rusher and a great student in that he's going to one of those academies.
Keeping it with the academies, Air Force constantly comes into the state, blankets the entire state with offers. They pick up 2 commitments this week.
Yeah, the Falcons, they just do a fantastic job. So the first, they got a quarterback out of Saguaro High School, Max Massengale. He had the other academies that offered him as well as Campbell, FCS program. And he's a guy that when I talked to him, he said he picked Air Force because they want to utilize his dual threat capabilities. A guy, he threw for over 2,000 yards last year, rushed for over 1,000, accounted for almost 40 touchdowns. A very good football player. Completed over 70% of his passes last year for Saguaro and helping them win the state championship. And the second commitment of the week that Air Force got was Marana Mountain View defensive tackle Kai Golden. Big-time get for the Falcons. He had offers from Virginia, New Mexico State, and Montana. Kid, 6'3", 290 pounds, collapses the pocket, very good defensive tackle. And when I talked to this kid, I really loved what he had to say. He wants to serve his country. His dad was in the Marines for 20 years, so committing to Air Force is something that he just wanted to do. He was very proud of his father and his time and that he served for the country and wants to be the same man that he has grown up to be. So very, very awesome quote there from Kai Golden.
Now, there are also some big offers coming into the state, including Casteel quarterback Gunnar Cruz. This is the first Division I athlete in Casteel history. He picks up 2 offers, including one from a hometown school.
Yeah, so he's only going to be a junior. 2019 prospect, 6'5", quarterback. First, he goes up on an unofficial visit to South Dakota State, and the Jackrabbits turn around and offer him. But just moments later, Arizona State turned around and they offered him. So now he's a kid, like you just mentioned, is the first Division I player in Casteel's short history. And not only does he get one, but he gets two Division I offers back to back. And he's a guy that's going to be a national level prospect. Once schools start coming out there next spring, he's a guy that's going to get plenty of offers. I've seen him in several passing leagues this summer and really, really liked him. I'm very intrigued. I think he's a player that has a high ceiling.
We know that Oregon State loves the Chandler Wolves, and they offer one of the more decorated but underclassmen linebackers in Zach Bowers.
Yeah, so Bowers, a 2019 linebacker, now starting to rack up the offers, but this one comes from Oregon State. And like you mentioned, the Beavers have done a great job in the state of Arizona and specifically at Chandler High School. Like I said, he's a kid who's all over the field, fantastic player, and a very smart offer, early offer for Oregon State.
And Arizona is known as a hotbed when it comes to special teams, no different for the Notre Dame prep long snapper.
Yes, Slater Zellers, ranked one of the top long snappers in the entire country. We saw him a few weeks ago, a couple episodes ago. We talked about it. Got an offer from Cal. Wyoming recruits down here very heavily. Their defensive line coach, A.J. Cooper, is a Sunny Slope graduate, but Wyoming offers. Now he has two Division I offers. Slater Zellers does. And again, a guy that's going to be heavily recruited. And we, like you mentioned, Arizona is a hotbed for long snappers. Having at least one kid ever since I've been covering the state go Division I on scholarship.
Plenty of commitments this week. Things are only going to get busier when the high school season rolls around. Keep it here on the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup on Sports 360 AZ.